Thank you so much for joining me in this quick tutorial on how to customize your logistics and travel packet. It's for planning a corporate conference, a team retreat, or an offsite event. This packet is designed to give your attendees everything they need and all sorts of the critical details, from lodging and rooming to schedules to local food options and expense policies, in one organized document. So as you can see, all the placeholders are in these double curly brackets, right? These are the double curly brackets. So what you want to do here is, wherever you see these double curly brackets, you want to enter whatever is specific to your event. So event name, let's put event name, very generic, I know. And you want to put your company logo. And so these are actually going to be in brackets. And this is, let's see, the start and the end. So you want to put these dates there. And so I already did that, and I put April 9th through April 26th, and I deleted the brackets as an example. Same for here with the location. You want to put the city and the state, and then you want to put your company and or organization name. So again, big rule of the house here is replace every placeholder with your event details. Add or remove rows as needed for your convening, and that is throughout this whole document, this whole entire document. So the next section is key on-site and support staff. So there's two different staffs. There's on-site, which are the people that are on-site that you can physically see at the event, and then there are off-site staff. And the off-site staff is really there to support the on-site, and also they can assist with probably, the operations or travel changes from afar. So you just want to simply replace the name, and put the real person's name, get rid of the brackets, role, title, cell number, email, and the same for the offsite. And then self-explanatory for each section. It's really wherever the brackets are, you just complete with your event specific information, and you can also add rows. You can take away rows or columns. You utilize what you need. You chew the meat and spit out the bone, in this case. And so, here it's important to have the check-in and check-out hours. And like I said, anything in the brackets. And I just put what is normally the check-in and check-out hours of 3 p.m. and 11 a.m. All hotels have amenities. And so I just put what are common in a lot of hotels, but there might be a business center or they might not have all of this, but you want to go through and make sure you know what your hotel is offering your guests, your attendees, and place that here. You want to give them information if there's a hotel restaurant, if there's a restaurant within the hotel, you want to share that information, especially when happy hour is and the times of the different meals. So in all hotels, there's always room amenities, and so you just list them here, what's included in each room. So there's two ways you can do the room assignments. You can, whichever one works best for you, and you can delete all of this. This is what works best visually for the template, but you can definitely delete this and do what you want. The first option I put is confirmation, the confirmation sent directly to attendees. So this is like, had the language that you would put. Your rooming assignment has been emailed to you directly, and your confirmation is included in the email that has this logistics and travel packet attached. If there is any problem with the check-in or check-out dates or the rooming assignment, please contact blah, 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 whoever you need to contact. And the same thing here. This second option is just include confirmation in the below table. And so I just added that same note. If there's an issue, who do they need to contact? And then what their rooming information is, the name of the guest, their check-in date, their check-out date. If there's a second guest in their room, single, double, king, and the room number. Then this is a list of all the meals that are provided to the group by the host. So we're providing breakfast, AM break, lunch, PM, dinner, and it lets you know which days you can delineate if you're, providing meals for certain days and times, and then the location, and then the menu details for that specific meal. As you can see, remember, enter your specific event details in the brackets and then delete the brackets, okay? And then you can list just the meals, the days, and notes, like different days that you will not be providing meals for the group and they would have to pay out of pocket with no reimbursement. So I just put an example dinner following the last workshop on Thursday and Saturday, and dinner on your own. And that's when the local restaurants here will come in handy. And so you want to give your attendees as much as possible so that you're not asked so much and bombarded so much during the days of the events. Like, it's all there. You can also tell people, reference your logistic packet. It really does help streamline. Some people might get offended, but you can let them know that the reason you've created this is so that you don't have to set aside every 2 minutes and talk to someone about things that are already in the logistics packet, because you have things to do on the floor in the main event, and you have actionable items that are happening now. So you just want to make that clear. Sometimes it can come across not as tactful, but we try our best. And then here's a list of the travel days and reimbursement notes. Like, what are we being reimbursed for? If attendees need to be reimbursed, and if there's like a local per diem, a daily per diem, or like an event-wide per diem, maybe based off of the meal prices, and it'll be like maybe 120 for 3 or 5 days or something like that, and it can get reimbursed, and they just have to provide the appropriate receipts, and then what's excluded for reimbursements. And then you definitely need to always make a note if you, the host, are covering hotel incidentals. That is a really important thing, so please make note of that. And then our section here, the airport transfers and ground transportation. This is only, of course, if applicable, but usually most I would say, have hotel shuttles. And then just list the details, and then other options if your company set up a ride share through a code or whatnot, what the instructions are and the access code, and then just an additional option if there's another option on people attending your event. And then these are definitely important. This is on-site room directory. So if you're having a conference or something, people really need to be aware of where they're going. You're not going to be able to direct traffic, and neither is your small team. You're not really going to be able to direct traffic in the moment. So you need to prepare for that with signage, arrows, labels, and then you need to provide people with a floor plan and a map, a room map, and then also location of the rooms and spaces that you'll be utilizing and how to access them. And so that's on site, and the same goes for off site. So if this is on site at the hotel, you want to provide the room and the information. If this is off site at the hotel, the only difference is you want to add in the parking information, and still want to keep the floor plan and room map available for your attendees. And then this is just a general schedule. We end with this. I usually end with a general schedule, but there's a more detailed schedule that gets sent out to attendees. This is just an outline of, arrival, meals, departures, basically. And it has all the details. Everything is self-explanatory with some notes. And then the final day is kind of equivalent to the arrival day, with a lot of time built in for departures. And usually during like departures or arrival times, there is catered snack bar, or on departures there's a box lunch that's provided to attendees to accommodate the staggered departure times. And then you just go over here, the bottom, what are we reimbursing attendees for? What can they be reimbursed for? So just input your policies and just make sure that the mileage is up to date, because that changes on an annual basis. So you just want to make sure, you just want to make sure that is correct. And then at the end, you want to insert, if you have your own reimbursement form or policy, so that people know the process and how to submit. So thank you again for bearing with me through my own tutorial of the logistics and travel packet that I created.